Okay, so packaging a file is what we do when we've saved our file, which we've done here. This has been saved. But the InDesign file alone doesn't contain everything pertaining to it or everything we're seeing. InDesign does what's called linking to. So this image, for example, has been placed in, but we're only seeing a preview. The image file isn't actually contained or embedded into the InDesign file. If I just sent this InDesign file to a printer, for example, he wouldn't have the typeface, he wouldn't have the image itself. He would just be seeing a very low-res preview, and he actually wouldn't be able to print it. Sometimes even the previews don't show. So we need to do what's called packaging. Now, working on your own computer or a computer that's independent of the school means that whatever files you have used for this layout, they're already on your computer and everything's going to work fine as long as you're working on that computer and with this file. When we're in the school, we have to do packaging because we have to get the file off the computer before we log off. So we package the file, it collects everything pertaining to that document, and then we may email it to ourselves or upload it to a drive and so on, a cloud drive, put it on a USB, and any way to get it off that school computer. So packaging the file means that it's going to be collecting everything pertaining to it. So I'm going to go to File and down to Package. And it's going to bring up this summary. By default, since you haven't otherwise changed any settings in InDesign, these will all be fine. You're going to see this little warning sign. That's just making sure that you're aware of there being linked images in it. That's fine. So all this is good. We'll say package. And it's going to ask you where on your computer you want to save that folder, because it's going to put everything in a folder. And by default, it's going to put these things into a folder. I'll go through these quickly. It's going to copy the fonts that you've used in this file, and it's going to actually put those font files into the folder. It's going to copy any linked graphics. So if you've placed in graphics from Illustrator or Photoshop, like the image that we have used, it's going to copy those into the folder, and it's going to update any graphic links in the package, meaning if we have the package and then I make an adjustment to that image, it will automatically update it. You don't really have to worry about that right now, but keep it selected. It's also going to include an IDML file. That stands for InDesign Markup Language. All that is a file that if you were going to try and open this on a version that is lower than what you made the file with. So if you're working on InDesign 2020 and you wanted to open it in 2017, you would use the IDML. And then it also includes a PDF, a print PDF, but this PDF is for reference only. You should not send these out to production. You should not submit these even in school. It's just a reference file. That's it, to show what's in that folder. It would print, but it wouldn't have the proper settings and so on, so it wouldn't be a correct print. There'll be functions that it wouldn't contain, such as hyperlinks and so on, if we were sending this out digitally as a newsletter or something. So it's just a reference PDF. So I'm going to save this folder on my desktop. I'll click Package. And you can see actually, sorry, it's called Folder, just to remind us. And it's going to say this little warning is just about copyrighted fonts. You know, it's almost saying you're doing something illegal. And you're just going to say okay. and I'll hide InDesign. And here is my folder. So that's the packaged folder. And this is the original document here. Now the thing with this to remember is our InDesign document is still opened. So if I was going to be continuing to work on that after I made my packaged folder, I would be changing this file. But there's one in that folder, this INDD right here, that would not be getting changed. So I would have to repackage. So again, if you package and then you notice something like, oh, I have to spell that word correctly, and then you close and save, you've revised the original, you haven't revised the one that's in the package itself. So you just need to be careful of that. Now that package, it has the fonts that we used, it has the linked images. So there's the image. It's got the IDML, which you'll probably never use, but it's good to have. And it's often good to have just in case something goes corrupt with this one. And then it has the actual file. So when you go to continue working on your project, this is what you'll open. And it has our reference PDF here. And that's the package. Now, if you did need to email that to yourself, send it somewhere, put it on a cloud drive, whatever, you do have to compress that, turn it into a zip file, and you do that by right-clicking and choosing compress. Okay, so that's the packaged file, and then you would otherwise just close this up, and I'm going to choose save again just to be sure. And when in doubt, if you are unsure about what you should be keeping, just put everything into that folder. You may have to change the name. If I put this in there, it's going to want to replace my packaged. So I would change that to give it another name. But there you have your packaged file.